Okay, now then I've got this one. This one's going to be interesting. I got to figure out how to put this thing in. So I click on this little box and I need to be able to put it in absolute value. Do you see when I clicked on that box how all these other little things came up? So there's a fraction, there's a mixed number, there's all kinds of things down here that we'll be using in this course. An ordered pair. I want this one that says absolute value. So see, when I clicked on that absolute value, it put it in there. So what I'm going to do is my A plus 3 and alpha A plus 3. And now I want to get out of it. So I have to see how it's shaded. I have to get out of it by clicking behind it. And then it'll be uncolored. The color will come off. And now I can put my minus 3 behind it. And I can check my answer and we'll see if I managed to please them. Sometimes when you do this, they don't like the way you did it and you have to go back and do it again. All right. Are we good? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. On this one, the next one, do you see that it's x cubed? Don't forget that x cubed is the number times itself 3 times. So this would be 0 times 0 times 0. -1 times -1 times -1. 2 times 2 times 2, which is not 6. That's the most missed one I see. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. And then you're going to have this -2a. -2a times -2a times -2a is going to be -8a cubed. So when you get that one, when you click on your little square, it's going to give you an exponent option down there for you to be able to put in your cube. Somebody needs to try your caret 3 and see if it works. I can't remember if it does work on a caret or not. I think you've got to use their notation. The next one is a Fahrenheit Celsius problem that you just put it in and find out the answer and pick the answer down the list. This is one of the graphs that you have to do. You have to graph the function. I know that this is a line because the x is to the first power and the y over here is to the first power. So this is a line. It's going to cross the y-axis at 5 and it has a slope of -2, but they're asking me to find points. So I'm going to do the line first and then I'm going to do a parabola or an absolute value because these, like we did before, these are a little bit tricky. So I'm going to pick this -2 one and I'm going to try to do it in my head. -2 times -2 is +4. +4 plus 5 would be +9. So I'm going to put a 9 in there. 0. -2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 would be 5. So I'm going to put 5 in there. And 2, -2 times 2 would be -4. -4 plus 5 would be 1. Okay, now once I get that in there, I'm going to check my answers. And then it's going to give me a graph to do. So I'm not finished with the problem until I graph it. So I click the graph to enlarge. Remember the tools, you'll have to select the correct tool. I want a line, and then I'll have this little square thing on my picture, and I'll have to graph these points. -2, 9. -2, 9. Let's see, it looks like it's about right there. But see, if you look over in the corner up at the top on the yellow thing, it will tell you your ordered pair. And then you have to click the right side of your mouse to make the dot. Then do 0, 5, 0 over 5 up, and see how that little thing gets in your way. When you get to 0, 5, click, and you can add, you don't have to graph the third point unless you want to. I think it will take it. Let's see, save it, and we'll check it. Yes. Any questions on graphing that line? Okay, let me see. There is one that I wanted to do that was on graphing. Oh, it's number 12. Let me go to 12. Number 12 is a parabola. Do you see how this is squared? I know it's a parabola, but it's not in the form I'm used to seeing it. It usually has little parentheses and plus or minus something out here to let me shift. So on this one, I will have to figure out either from doing it on my calculator first, or I'll have to do it from the ordered pairs and figure out where the parabola is. So let's do the ordered pairs. I'm going to come out of this and we're going to do it on a piece of paper. And I'm going to show you how to do it on your graph to see where your vertex is, because it's not in the right form that we're used to seeing it with something added at the end with parentheses. It's shifted off. This is called the standard form that it's in right now. It's wanting me to do -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3 before it's going to let me graph. So I'm going to go out of this and go into my paper, and I'm going to put these points in. So I have -1 squared minus 2 times -1 minus 3. And I have -1 squared is -1 times -1, which is 1. -2 times -1 will make a +2. -3 on the end. So I have 1 plus 2, which is 3, minus 3. So my answer for this is 0. Okay, now you could continue to do this by hand, but I don't want to do that by hand. I want to pick up my calculator and be lazy. So what I'm going to do is pick up my calculator. I'm going to clear out the graph that I had in there before by hitting clear, and I'm going to put this equation in. The x is by the alpha key. X, I've got to square it. Remember, squared's on the side. It says x squared. When I hit that key, it puts a little 2 up there. Minus is the connector minus over here. Remember, if it's negative, it'll be this one down here. If it starts a negative at your problem start, then it would be the negative at the bottom. But if it's between two things, it's the connector minus. So I make it 2x, but don't forget to put your alpha x in there or you won't get this problem right. Minus 3. So double check to make sure that's my equation, and I hit graph. I'm not surprised that it's a parabola because the squared term that's there. What I do need to know is where these points are, and I'd like to know where this vertex is. So if I hit second and graph, remember, it brings up my ordered pairs. Now I'm just not going to take time to do all this work. I'm going to look on here and see what the answers are, and you can do that too. It looks like 0 is -3, 1 is -4, 2 is -3, 3 is 0. So you can see from the picture there that it looks like 1, -4 might be my vertex. But I can figure it out really quick by deciding where it is by calculating the minimum. You don't have to do it this way, and I'm just going to show you how I can do it and prove that that's the bottom point. And you may want to start doing this because we will be doing it later. I hit enter because it's blinking right there. And then I move my little cursor over to the other side and I hit enter. And it's click that side, and now I hit enter again. And it will tell me that my vertex point is 0.99999, which is really 1, and -4. So that's going to be my vertex point. I could have looked at the graph and probably come really close to it just by looking at the graph. So we'll do that about 100 more times. So if you didn't get it that time, you don't have to know it here. You just have to estimate where it is anyway. Question? Yes.
What button did you press on your calculator to pull up the minimum?
It was the second button, and the one that says trace above it says calculate. See that? And when I do second and trace, it brings up the menu above it, which is the calculate menu. And look, it will give me lots of things I'll use in this class. The value, the zero, the minimum, the maximum. We won't use intersections we'll use, but we won't use derivatives in this class. But we'll use those first 4 or 5 on there in the class. So just kind of get used to seeing that menu. And those of you that want to play with it and see if you can make it work, you can. Otherwise, just use the points and graph them that they give you. And they have given you the vertex hidden in there somewhere because they don't want you to know how to do this yet. But we're going to do that a little bit later in the course. But for those of you that are a little bit ahead, you can use that method for finding where the vertex is. Okay, I'm going to go back to my problem. And I'm going to fill in these points that I found. And I just got it off of my calculator, to be truthful. So I have a -1 in the first one. And I think it'll let me do all of them without checking on this particular one. -3. -4, and we decided that was going to be our vertex. That's going to be the very bottom of this. It is going to smile because there's a +1 in front of that x squared. Positive will make it smile. 2, -3, and 3, 0. Now I'm going to check my answer, see if
The
it'll...
first one is supposed to be 0.
It is. And look what it told me. It said at least one of your answers is incorrect. So you just beat them to the draw. But know that if that comes up, double check your work. Thank you for pointing that out. If I could give you an extra point, I would. Who was that caught that? Come on, fess up. Who was that?
Marlisha.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, now then we're going to graph it. I do know that it's a squared term. That tells me in my mind that it's a parabola. So I'm going to pick the little parabola tool. And I'm going to put those points on there. I'm going to go ahead and put my vertex point since I know that it's really 1, -4. I'm going to start with that one. 1/4 down. And see how it gives me that straight line. So it won't be start to curve until you put some more points in there. So I have a 0, -3. Let me see if I can get that one in there. 0, -3. I'm watching my little yellow one up there to see. Let's see what happens if I put in a -1, 0. See how it makes the curve when I start doing that? There it is. And I'm watching that little spot right there where the ordered pair is to see that I get the right ordered pair. Now, once I get my shape, and it takes 3, see it has 3 little dots on this tool? That tells you how many points you have to use. Like there's 2 on this straight tool for the line, and I think this one's got 4. So this cubic curve is going to need 4. Looks like this one's only going to need a couple. So those little dots on that tool will tell you how many you need. Now let's save it and check your answer. And you can see that they said, well done. Okay, the next one is a cubic curve. That one's going to be one of those, you'll have to use the cubic tool to do it. And it's going to shift from 0, 0 down to 7 on that last one. And then you're going to be given all these graphs, and you're going to have to say if it's a function or not. This is where you use the vertical line test and just kind of pretend that you're drawing vertical lines down through it. If when you draw a vertical line, it's only crossing your graph in one place, it is a function. If you have one that looks like this and you drew a vertical line down it, it would cross it in two places. So this one is not a function. So there's only about 4 big problems on here that are tough. The rest of them aren't too bad. This one is, if you drew a vertical line, it would touch it in more than one place, so it is not a function. And this one, if you do vertical lines on this one we'll use a little bit later on in the course, and it is a function. Okay, that is the discussion of the problems and the new information that we're going to do tonight if you haven't done it. Some of you have already been in there to try to do these problems. And I need, if you have any questions on how to do them, then you need to let me know, and we'll cover, if there was some major problem, we'll do it for the whole class. If not, and you just have an individual problem, you can go away if you want and have a good weekend and work on your problems, and the rest of you can stay that need help with your problems, and we'll go over those. We got finished a little bit earlier tonight because this material's not as tough as some of the others. So do we have any questions generally from all of you? You can unmute.
So all of those assignments that we were just doing, that's on the lab assignment, is that correct?
It's on the, it's under, you go, let me show you again so that you'll know.
Okay.
Just,
Yeah, I want to make sure
that
I can
you know.
do it.
When you go into your, it'll look like this that says start here.
Okay.
Let it switch. It'll look like this when you get in there. Okay, then you can go down through this. Now your syllabus is on this start here. You'll need to look at that syllabus, and you'll have to go do that course agreement that's out in my labs. But your assignments can be listed. This is all of them at one time right here.
Okay.
And you can see all of them at one time. That's there on that start menu. It's it's an assignment that comes down as a doc. You have to open it. It may freeze when we do that. We'll see. See, it'll have all of your assignments there. Now, this one says 9-1 and 9-2 there. That's an error on this one. 9-1 and 9-2 is actually done here on the 3rd week. But let me show you another place this is located so that right here, mylab math all assignments. If you will click there, that's right under course content. That is where you'll need to go to do your problems.
Okay. That's what I thought I saw because I did the course agreement earlier. I was just making sure that those were the correct assignments.
And if you don't have this course agreement by sometime next week, they'll remove you from the class. So be sure you do that. And you click on the assignment and it will bring
Okay.
up the problems. And you can see, I did a few of them in here, which is why my score is low. I only
Okay.
did a few of them. So you just go back in, and if you get one wrong, it'll put an X, and you can click on that one, and you can redo that problem again. Won't be the same problem. It'll be different numbers, but it'll be the same kind of problem.
Okay.
Okay? Does anyone
Okay.
else have any problems or questions that you want? I can work some problems for you. I can do anything you guys need.
So we are good to go ahead and log off and start on our homework.
You are good to log off and start on your homework. And if you want to stay and talk to me, I'll be glad to talk to any of you. I do want you to have a good weekend. Stay safe. We already have one of our class members that has COVID. So I'm really glad that we're doing it this way. None of us are going to get infected tonight from one person having it. And I told her, and some of you weren't on, I was still under quarantine last Tuesday when we were on. So I was so glad we were doing it via Zoom because I couldn't have been in class that night. I didn't get off quarantine until Wednesday. And my grandson had COVID, and he came and spent the night with us before he found out he had it. So my husband and I were exposed. So you just never know when somebody around you might have it. I will contact you, so just know that I'm going to annoy the heck out of you. This whole course, if you don't get your assignments in, because I'm determined that you're going to pass. And to do that, the key to passing is to get this homework done. So I will let you know over and over if I have something missing, if your grade's not showing up, if your attendance didn't show up, if you have something wrong somewhere, I will be texting you or contacting you to let you know. And if you don't get 2.1 and 2.2 in by Sunday night, you can expect that you're going to hear from me on Sunday because it's due by 11:59. And try to get 100%. That's what your goal is. Now, I'm not going to bother you if you have 80 or above, but if you have 60 or 50 or 20 or 10, I'm going to call you or text you and say, you got to get your grade up to 100. You just got to do it. So I'll help you. We can do a one-on-one Zoom. We can do whatever we need to do to get you to get those problems done. But I'm determined that every one of you in my class, you're going to pass. Okay? Deal?
Yeah.
Yes, I have to pass this class.
That's a deal.
Okay. I need to check to see if anybody came in that I didn't get counted, that I got counted absent. So if you weren't here for roll call at the beginning, you need to let me know that you were here.
I was a few minutes behind. This is Portia.
Portia. Okay, Portia, I don't think I counted you here. Nope.
I'm here.
Okay, I got you. I got you now.
Thank you.
Did Kiara come in? Or Selena? Or Hunter? Those were the ones I'm missing. Kiara, Selena, and Hunter. Okay. All right. Some of you are still on, so I'm anticipating you have some questions that you would like to ask, or you're just hanging out to see what the other questions are. And Brooke's going to show me her baby in a minute. Have you got your baby?
It's going to show you your baby now. Hold on.
Okay. Oh, look at this tiny baby. When was she born?
December the 8th.
It's a girl?
It's a girl.
What's her name?
Her name's River.
Oh, how pretty.
And this is my 6-year-old.
Hi, River. And
this is Jersey.
Jersey. I was trying to remember what Jersey's name was. Hi, Jersey.
Hey.
Oh, she's precious. When was she born?
She was born in December. Jersey's 6.
No, when was the baby born? River.
December the 8th.
Yeah.
She's 6 weeks old.
Oh, so precious.
Thank you. All right, y'all have a good night.
You too, Brooke.
Bye.
Okay. Questions? Let's see, Natalie, do you have questions?
I was just sticking around to see if anybody else had one.
Okay. And
So chapter 1 is just like traditional graphing and chapter 2 is more in functions. Is that correct?
chapter 2 starts functions.
Okay, but chapter 1 is just like how to graph, basically, correct?
And Lori, are you in college algebra or are you in the other one?
I am
You're
college
in the
algebra
support.
support.
You're in the support. So you're going to need to do the other ones that's combining like terms and talking about easier things than just graphing. It's got how to graph points on a coordinate system.
Okay.
That is in that section too.
Okay.
All right. Let's see, who else do we have it on here? Astanika, do you have a question?
I do not.
Okay. How about you, Shaquila?
I don't have a question. I guess I wanted to know the same thing that the last person was asking about the what all are we responsible for if we're in support and if we're in college algebra, and because just 2.1 and 2, we just do everything that's on that assignment list.
Do
Basically,
everything
that
that's
says
on
that it's due this week, right?
There's 2 of 2.1.
Okay.
And 2 of 2.2.
I see that. Okay, so the one that says 2.1 support for CA, that's what everybody's that's the one that everybody's getting confused as to whether we do all of that or not. Okay.
You just know you're in support. So if it's on the list, you do it. Okay? There's only 5 people.
Okay.
There's only 5
That
that's
was my
not in support. And most of them are going to do all of it anyway. But you just need to know that if it's up there, you need to do it. Okay?
Okay. That's me. Okay.
Right. Let's see.
I'll
Braylon,
see y'all later. I'm gonna go get started.
you and your 3 sets of twins over there. Take care of those twins.
Yes, I got them. Thank you. I'm gonna have to show y'all a picture.
Okay.
Because everybody's all of. So I'll show you a picture.
Okay. All right, Braylon, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I did have a question.
Okay.
So I'm
Oh, look at the twins. Oh my goodness. You got your house full there, girl. That's a great group. Okay, Braylon, what is your question? What's your question, Braylon?
I was doing some of the 2.2 and I came to an equation and it kind of got me stumped a little bit.
Which one?
It says simplify to form an equivalent expression by combining like terms. Use the distributive law as needed.
Which problem was it, Braylon?
It has a 6 alpha minus, then it has the parentheses 3a plus 5, close parentheses.
3a plus 5. And what is the variable name? What does it say at the beginning?
6 alpha minus.
6.
It's like, I don't know if you can better see it.
Yeah, write it on a piece of paper and show it to me.
I say it's like, I don't know if you can see that. It's probably backwards or something.
Is it a 6x? No, 6.
Oh, 6a, 6 alpha. 6 alpha.
6a. 6a, and then there's
a minus sign before the parentheses starts.
Okay, now let me go back to my screen over here and see if I've got it.
Hold on, babe. Oh, thank you.
Does it look like that?
Right.
Okay. So what I want to do is make my -1 right there between the minus sign and the parentheses.
Right.
Now that means I'm distributing the -1 times each of these things in here.
So I would do that first.
You would do that first because you've got to get rid of these parentheses first.
Okay, so that's what I did wrong. I started off with the 6A, trying to do that.
Well, bring down your 6A, but don't try to subtract your 1. That 1 goes with this parentheses.
Gotcha.
So -1 times 3A would be -3A, and -1 times 5 would be -5. So I have 6A minus 3A. Now those two I can combine because they have A's on them. And I get 3A, but this 5 doesn't have an A on it, so I just have to leave it down, and that's going to be my answer right there. 3A minus 5.
Yeah, I was trying to distribute the 6A on the whole.
It's what everybody does.
I kind of just, yeah.
It's because this minus is sitting there with nothing in it.
Right.
That's why I'm going to say just stick your 1 in between the minus and the parentheses, and that will help you remember that it's -1 times these numbers in here first.
Yeah, I just didn't know what to do with the 6A. I didn't know if I was supposed to do both of them or not.
Now, a lot of people will try to distribute the 6A, but it's too far away from the parentheses. It's got that -1 in there.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha.
Okay.
That helped tremendously.
Any other questions that you had?
That was the only one that stumped me.
Okay, well, anytime you get stuck, I'm just a text away, phone call away. Just let me know. Just don't dwell on it a long time. Just call me and you'll be off and going, you know.
Okay.
It will not bother me for you to call me.
All right.
Okay, Sash, tell me your name.
It's Sashanae.
Sashanae. Sashanae, okay. Sashanae, do you have any problems and questions?
I don't have any questions just yet. I'm actually I was going to take a look at the lesson yesterday, but I wanted to come to class first because I wasn't able to do it on Tuesday.
I had you marked absent on Tuesday.
Yes, I had a family emergency and it ran a little longer than what I thought it would. But yes, I wanted to attend a class first to get a little more refreshed on algebra.
Right.
I was pretty decent in high school. I've only been out of school for maybe like 6 years now, but slopes was actually my trouble area. The graph.
We'll go over that real carefully when we get to that section. You do need to know that those videos are out there since you missed that first section. Do you remember how to find them? Let me go back to that area and I'll show you how to find those. See if I can get it to go back to where we were.
And I can actually turn my camera on. I was kind of back and forth cooking earlier, so that's why I had it off.
Okay.
I don't know if it's showing me now. My hair is a little crazy, y'all. Sorry.
It's all right. Okay, let me see if I can get this to go back to where I want it to go. I may not be able to. May have to get out and back in.
Okay.
Hang on a second. Let me see if I can get it to do what I want it to do. No, let me go out and I'll come back in it. Okay, we're back into the beginning. Can you see this information that's on the left side going down?
I actually went in and kind of played with some of the links yesterday.
Okay, these lectures and support videos. Let's do the support video.
Okay.
These are the college algebra support videos. Both of these are great videos, but if you're like doing 2.3, because this is where he starts, is 2.3, 2.1 and 2.2 are on the other videos. But if you look at these, he'll tell you very carefully how to do everything.
Okay.
And there's also videos that the textbook puts out that's down in the material.
So
this is Dr.
lecture
Ransford.
will be over support
Okay.
for college algebra section 2.3. So it's all about solving equations and interval notation and stuff. So the best thing to do is share my screen and let's work these problems.
You can see he's a little bit slower than I am, but
First problem
very
I got says
thorough.
solve using the addition principle.
Okay.
Now the addition principle says,
Okay, I'm going to make this one stop.
in order to get
and
this
if I
x
can
by
figure out
itself,
how,
since this a is being added, I would subtract
and
the a.
see if I can find the one that he put out there from the first class. I think it's in the algebra lecture videos. Let me see if it is. Yes, here's week 1 right here.
Okay.
And look, he also has one out on how to use the TI 8384 to graph. He has that one done too. But let me show you. I'll just show you how he uses this.
Okay, this video, I'm going to show you how to use your TI-83, TI-84 calculator to draw these graphs. So, this is going to be out of section 2.1 in college algebra. So the first graph I'm going to do is y equals 2x plus 1.
Okay. Yeah, I had caught that when you were doing it on the calculator earlier.
So if you'll go back in these, and he'll go over these lecture videos for each of those examples.
Okay.
And he's really good. There's also another one. Let me find the other one. I think it's on your links. Here it is, my student link. And down here at the very bottom, it's a multimedia library.
Okay.
Click on that. Those are all
No, hold on, baby.
and you select the chapter that you want, and just let's say you want to do 2.1 and you want to do 2.1 section, and it says find. It will tell you there's not any media resources on that one, I guess.